tricks, things that you can use in your practice as takeaways for today. So we always start out with this particular slide. Whenever we talk, we say that medicine is a science. Medicine is a way to heal the sick and the injured, and in our industry in particular, it's a way to keep people looking young and beautiful, and it's absolutely still one of the most respected professions today. But one of the things that we find again and again is that our clients and practices that we speak with really lose sight of the fact that medicine is still a business, and you always want to make sure that even though your medical practice is your medical practice, remember that it absolutely is a business, and you want to be focusing on treating it like a business. You want to be focusing on your financials, not only just on great patient care, but how to bring in additional patients as well, and never lose sight of the fact that especially in our industry, patients have a choice of where they go. They don't have to come to your practice because you take their insurance, which is so often the case with other industries and other specialties. So always make sure that you remember patients have a choice in where it is that they're able to go. We're going to be talking today about acquiring a male patient and looking at how to bring in and how to retain male patients. Men and women do not think alike. This is no secret to anybody. We all know that men and women think very differently. They look at the world very differently, and it's not that there's a right or a wrong way, but we always want to make sure that as we have an ongoing focus on marketing to the male patient, we look at what is it that we can do to bring in a male patient. I want to start by looking at your marketing and marketing to the clients that you have and the patients that you have. I know that some industries and some practices, you might call them a client. The majority of the practices we work with, we refer to them as patients. But we know that in this particular specialty, in this particular industry, it costs approximately $400 to bring in one new patient. Now, as you put all of that time and effort into bringing in a patient, you want to make sure that you're keeping them, and you want to make sure that you're marketing to them, and they can help you by referring their friends. Now, every male patient has females in his life that he knows and loves. It could be that you end up marketing about male services to a sister, a wife, it could be the daughter perhaps, especially as we look at daughters that might be in their 20s or 30s. It could be that their fathers at that point are looking for a facelift. So look at, it could be a best friend. Look at who it is that you are already treating. You're already treating women. So make sure you're letting the women in your practice know about the services that you offer for men as well. And we'll talk about marketing some specific services in a moment. Design a piece with male-focused graphics in mind. So as you're talking about referrals, if you have a marketing piece that you plan on your female patients giving to the men in their lives, don't have a little pink card that you say, oh, but this matches my logo, this matches my graphics, it matches my branding, and that's great. Men are not going to carry around a little pink card in their wallet and look to redeem it for services. That's just not how that's going to go. You want to make sure that as you are using imagery to promote the services that you offer, you use images of other men and not just females. And you want to make sure that you keep an eye on what does that man, what do the men in your photos look like? Are they all the handsome model six-pack type, or are you marketing what real men look like? Just as women want to see images of real women and not only see images of models in your marketing material, men want to be able to see themselves in your marketing material. Now, of course, if you live in certain parts of the country, that model look and that model image is much more the norm. For example, the aesthetic in Beverly Hills is much different, for example, than the aesthetic in the Midwest. Look at what the men aspire to look like in a realistic fashion and use those images in your marketing. Now, when I talk about your marketing, look at your before and after photos. And on your website, And we always say make sure you have strong before and after photos on your website. Do you have images of men as well? Do you have images of that six-pack liposuction procedure that you specialize in and you do very well? Are you promoting that on your website, and are you showing images of the male before and afters? Of course, we always say make sure that you get the consents and make sure that every patient signs off on consents. When we're looking at before and after photos, look at your social media channels. Are you promoting that you offer these services for male patients on your Facebook, your Instagram? If you're a practice that focuses on Snapchat as well, I know a lot of practices do now, is that something that you're including? Something as simple as the before and after book that you have of your patients and your particular procedures that you've done, everything from surgery to perhaps a neuromodulator or a filler, have that even in a book that you customize and display. You can get them incredibly inexpensive and display them on the coffee tables in your reception area. We always say we call it a reception area and not a waiting room because you don't want to have them waiting. So look at the before and after photos and everywhere that you're including them. If you're doing any paid advertising, look at those images that you're including on the paid advertising. The same goes with the posters and brochures that you have in your very own office. So focus on having a few customized brochures for those particular procedures that you really want to focus to the male patient. And again, whether it's looking at having a certain filler that isn't going to make them look feminine, whether we're looking at neuromodulators, look at what are these procedures, whether it's surgical or non-surgical, and make sure you have men in that imagery as well. If there's a new procedure or a new injectable that comes onto the market, make sure to tell your local press about how you are one of the first in your space, in your geographic area, to bring it to your particular community. And so really talk about, and especially with the focus of marketing to men, talk about how it is that that will be useful not only for a woman and how and why a woman would love that procedure, but how and why would a man love that procedure as well. And make sure, like I said, to include both images and include men in that discussion. Now, I say that you want to fish where the fish are. And as much as I use this image, this is not an image of your typical patient, and we know that. But to be completely honest, it's an image of my grandfather, and any slide that I have that involves talking about men and fishing, I'm going to go ahead and try and include a graphic and a photo of my grandfather fishing. It was what he loved best. But you want to go ahead and fish where the fish are. So look within approximately a 10-mile radius of your particular practice and focus on collaborative relationships. Look at gyms, golf courses, high-end barber shops. I'm not talking about some place that you're going to get a cheap haircut, but what are some of the higher-end barber shops where men go to be pampered and to really their image focus? Look at high-end car dealerships. Look at the wedding industry and speak to future grooms. Speak to the brides so that you can get to their future grooms. And if there's a certain corporation in your particular geographic industry and your particular geographic community that has a large male population, go ahead and reach out to them. Let them know what you do. Offer to treat their receptionist free of charge, because that receptionist is going to sing like a canary about your amazing services and how much she loved being treated. Offer a discount to the members of that organization the first time they come in. So make sure that you are always keeping in mind you don't want to violate any Stark laws, you don't want to violate fee splitting, but you can offer a first time coupon. So it's 20% off your first service when they come in. And like I said, treat the receptionist for free or at a significant discount and allow them to share that experience. Now, I'm going to come back to what I said. You want to make sure that you're marketing to your female clients and patients, and you're telling them about what services you offer for the men in their lives. So ask them and go ahead and make that particular ask. We would love for you to bring in your father, son, brother, boyfriend, husband, favorite best friend. And so go ahead and say, we would love for you to bring them in and show them the space that you love so much and all that we can do for them. Again, this is just great word of mouth. Look at promotions with bridal magazines, bridal blogs, there's all sorts of great wedding blogs out there. Have some really great Pinterest-worthy images that you're able to share as well. Look at The Knot, which is another great website that you're able to promote your particular services, and pick a few of the services that you want to promote and utilize the wedding industry and prepping for the wedding, the sweating for the wedding. Go ahead and utilize that. Now, we want to talk about giving treatments that may have had a more female angle and an industry that has really had a more female-friendly angle in the past. And you want to make sure that you're giving it a male spin. So it could be that there isn't as much of a difference between one particular procedure and the next. It could be that there's a huge procedure between how you would do something, or a huge difference in how you would do something with a female for a procedure and a male for the procedure. But give it a spin and give it a name that is male friendly. The gentleman's facial, a sports massage. Look at back facials, especially as men are working out and they're sweating. You have a man, and most men that are work out, they're image conscious, and they're sweating, and then that sweat gets trapped, and they then need a back facial because they just get acne on their back. So look at, like I brought up previously, body contouring, focusing on the six-pack. There's a number of practices that are doing this with great success. So if you have the ability and have not looked into it yet, I encourage you to take some courses and train with somebody that's able to really give you that knowledge on the best way to do that. If you are already doing that, that's fantastic, and I encourage you to shout it from the rooftops. Broadcast over social media that this exists, because I can tell you, men in particular really are not aware that the six-pack contouring even exists. Most men are not. And so it's making sure that you're getting that word out there. When it comes to the messaging that you're putting out there, keep it simple. Men and women focus very differently. Men tend to function on a need-to-know basis, while women are much more chatty and they want to get all of the details, and men really are the need-to-know. So when a male patient comes in for the first time, then make sure you are giving them all the information that they need to know, but it doesn't have to be that your receptionist sits and checks them up and tries to engage them in conversation for the next 20 minutes while they're waiting. Make sure that they know that it's okay sometimes if it seems like they want to be focusing on other things. It's okay to let that male patient just take a deep breath, and obviously gauge this on a person-to-person basis. But know that the average male patient doesn't tend to have the same patience for skincare as, or knowledge for skincare as women do. So once you have that male patient, and I'm going to come back to the point of talking about skincare for a moment. Once you have that male patient in your office, you want to keep them. And skincare, specifically a private label skincare line, is an absolutely great way to retain both male and female patients. So know that this serves as a marketing opportunity. It serves as a revenue opportunity, because they're going to wash their face in the morning and they're going to wash their face at night with the cleanser that they bought from your office. Women, we know that we use serums and we use creams and we use neck creams, and I mean, I could go on and on about all of the products, and I probably have a 4 to 5 product skincare regimen that I use, and I love that. It keeps my skin looking great, but it serves as a marketing opportunity, because when it comes time for me to wake up and go to bed, I'm waking up and going to bed with that particular brand, and when it comes time for a refill and I need to purchase more of that product. And same with your male patient. When it comes time for the male patient to purchase more of that product, they have to come back to your office, and that's a great thing. But know that as you are pushing the skincare, then men really, they have a lower tolerance. Generally, men don't want to have all sorts of skincare and serums and things like that. So look at what it is that they would use. Focus on offering them sunscreens and face washes over serums, because that's where you have an easier sell. If there's acne, if they have acne on their skin, on their face, on their back, offer them acne treatments. Again, looking at that cleanser, and offer to make up a sample bottle so they don't feel like they're going to end up going home with this product that they absolutely hate. It can just be an easy ½ ounce, maybe an ounce container, and offer to make them up that sample bottle. Tailor your in-office messaging tailor that in-office messaging during the upsell as well. So just as you'll do this with your email marketing, make sure that every one of your providers are really focusing on how it is to speak to the male client. So all of the things that we've talked about in the past and in this webinar, you want to make sure that every single one of your providers are on the same page with how it is that you want to communicate to your male patients. And you want to make sure that you're really tailoring your in-office messaging when it comes to that upsell. When we talk about email marketing, there are a couple things that, and this is not necessarily just for men, but you want to make sure that you are focusing on a couple different things. So like I said, keep it focused on having perhaps one email that would go out to your male patients if you want to have a specific male patient focus, and then another that would go out to, if you're focusing on promoting a certain service or a certain product, that would go out to the men, and say this, the men in your life. Make it easy for men to purchase gift certificates, especially during the holidays. I know that we think that the holidays are now a long way off, but we've just passed, for example, Valentine's Day. There's Mother's Day that's coming up, right? That's a great chance for the men to be focusing on the gift for the women. So you're still talking to the men, but now you're focusing on the women as well. It could work the other way around. If you have a Father's Day focus, so you have a Mother's Day focus and a Father's Day focus, make it easy for your patients to purchase gift certificates. Don't make them search for it. Have a button that simply says, buy your gift certificates today. Buy your gift certificates here. And again, you really want to be focusing on your email marketing to talk about those specific services and look at seasonality. So when is it that you want to be focusing on summer body hair removal, right? It's not necessarily in the middle of summer. We know that we want to be talking about that probably a few months ago, because we know that they could need 6 to 8 treatments for the laser hair removal. But look at all of these different services, and I really encourage you to plan out what we call an editorial calendar. So know what you're focusing when, especially when it comes to email marketing, but really when it comes to social media, when it comes to your events, and anything else it is that you want to be promoting. Plan ahead. You can plan 6, 9, almost 12 months out. It's no secret when Christmas and Hanukkah come around the corner. Valentine's Day is on the same day every single year, right? Look up when Father's Day and when Mother's Day are coming. Really put all of those things and put a plan into action. I also encourage you to utilize appointment reminder software, not just for your male patients, but your female patients as well. Patients today are busier and busier, and we have more on our brains than ever, and honestly, our attention spans are shorter than ever, unfortunately. And so you want to make sure that you aren't missing out on patients that have booked their appointments, and you want to make sure that you're not missing out on them keeping their appointments simply because they forgot, because it didn't make it onto their calendar. So utilize and make sure you have updated contact information. This includes first and last name. It includes their email address. It includes their phone number. And as silly as it sounds, even if you have somebody that comes in every other month, every 3 months, and you want to make sure that you're still asking them, I just want to confirm, is this still the best phone number to reach you? Is this still the best email address? It could have been that they got a new email address. Maybe they switched jobs. Maybe the cell phone you had on file was a work cell phone and they're no longer at that position anymore. Maybe they've switched plans. Maybe they've moved out of the area. You want to make sure you're constantly keeping that contact information up to date. But also, look into an appointment reminder software system. There are a number of them out there. Some of them are included in your EMR or EHR. Sometimes that's not the case, in which case look for something that does speak to that system. But have something that will send out a text message reminder when the appointment is made. I would suggest maybe 3 or 4 days out, and then even the day of the appointment. So you want to make sure that you don't miss out on them attending the appointment just because they forgot about it. You always want to make sure you're communicating with your patients, both your current patients and your prospective patients. I want to thank you so much for listening today. I know that I want to be very aware of you keeping everything on time and keeping everything on time. I know we got started a minute or two late, but I also know that people budgeted for half an hour. If you have any questions at all, you're welcome to contact me, info@thebestmbs.com. You're also able to contact me at Mara Shorr, that's my first and last name, Mara Shorr @thebestmbs.com. If you have any questions, I'm also more than happy to send you a copy of the presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mara, and thank you for those who have attended. As always, there will be a brief survey sent to you as soon as we end the webinar. Also want to let you know that we do have our upcoming webinars on vaginal rejuvenation. We have just signed a contract with Viviv, which will be the leading vaginal rejuvenation device company, and we are keenly aware that this is going to be one of the hottest treatments in the next couple of years, and there's going to be a lot of really good information. So I invite you to sign on for that. I believe that's on the 16th, which is next week, and thank you for coming.